Welcome to 10 Intentional Minutes with Janine. Let's dive into intentional living right now. Welcome to another episode of 10 Intentional Minutes with Janine. Today, we are going to be speaking about how you build your village, adding value to others while living with intention. Today, I've got a very special guest with me, one of my really good friends, Diana Makanuko from New Jersey. Let me tell you a little bit about Diana. She's a dynamic entrepreneur. She's a leadership coach and the founder of what we're going to be speaking about today, Value Me Now. It's a women's networking community built on connection, consistency, as well as community. Now, if you know me, then you know that I always say that community is the currency of the future. Diana was born in Cuba and raised in the US, and her journey has honestly been shaped by resilience and transformation, as well as passion. One of the things she does so well is she adds value to others. She has over 27 years of experience in sales and retail sales, training and development, and she's also a certified John Maxwell coach. In fact, we'll tell you a little bit more about that just now. She empowers women to build their confidence, and she builds strong networks through live and in-person connection. She is also a successful real estate investor and business owner. She runs a thriving epoxy flooring company with her husband in New Jersey, one I've had the honor to also work alongside Diana with. Beyond business, she's a devoted wife and a mother. She loves entertaining, she loves cooking, dancing and mentoring others. She believes that when women support each other, they thrive. And I know that Diana doesn't just say that, that is what she lives. So welcome to 10 Intentional Minutes with Janine, Diana. It's an honor to have you here today.
Thank you, Janine. Likewise, it's a pleasure and honor. And I'm so excited to actually walk this journey with you of my career and my personal life, the same as yours, the past, 14 years, 15,
Yeah.
12 years, I think now.
It's more than a decade.
Definitely more than a.
So why don't you tell the listeners how we met and where we met?
Oh, sure. This is a great story. So we met in Orlando, Florida. I believe it was February in 2013 at a John Maxwell Leadership Conference. And that's where we both got certified as leadership coach. And I remember being in the lobby the first time being as a married woman out in, at a conference. And there was so many like-minded people, but we just connected. And I know what it was. It was our smile and it was our eye contact because both of us are very big on that. And before you knew it, I bought you your first Starbucks coffee in America.
That's true. That's true. I was so happy about that.
Yes, and we've stayed in touch this whole time. We've had such a personal connection, and then I made you my life coach, which that was transformational because I've always taken care of my own self growth, but having a life coach really was the transformational moment in my life. And then you helped us launch Northeast Epoxy, which was such a beautiful journey, and I've learned so much, and all on two different time zones, raising our children, and through a pandemic, you became an author. It's
That's
just been
true.
such a pleasure watching all of this unfold.
So, one of the reasons I wanted to speak to you today is one of the things that you do so well, and that's adding value to others. So, what you've actually done is you've started a company called Value Me. And in this company, you're going to be like you always do, add value to others because it's just so close to your heart. So tell me, what inspired you to then start this or create this community of women?
So, Janine, the inspiration that I have is my life. My journey has been that I had very young parents. My mom was 15, my dad 23, and I picked up on that really quickly. Like, I just had a lot of questions, and they did not have the life experience that I needed. So, I just naturally just looked at older women as role models, women that had experience. And women that wanted to pour on you. Not everybody wants to pour into you. And I was a sponge. And I'm not saying that my vulnerability was my superpower, but that also was taken advantage of because I was young. I didn't have life experiences, which led to anxiety and depression and obesity, which my highest weight was at 350 pounds. Through all of that, I always had a positive attitude. I got that from my mother. Like, I think her being so young and naive let her give me that gift of always being positive through all. And she always read the Bible too. So I believe that that was what really kept her centered. And I always surrounded myself by fabulous, smart, driven women. I just feel like since I wanted to be one, and that's how I envisioned myself, I always attracted these women. I worked in retail sales, which gave me a very wide span in North Jersey. New Jersey is known for their malls. Like there's one like every like 5 minutes away, especially in the area that I live in. And I really pride myself in maintaining those relationships. Like you have to really pick and choose which relationships add value to you and which ones you have to add value to as well. I was very blessed to be given mentor roles and naturally mentor younger women. Like younger women are the ones that work in malls and are having those part-time jobs in all transitional eras of their life. So I found a lot of role models there and I did a lot of mentoring and a lot of my network now comes from all these beautiful women I have met. Um, One thing that I did notice in these women were that they always had a community of sisters. Like they always had a sisterhood. And I had that in common too, because I was in a sorority, I was president of my sorority. So I always felt like that was my role to share all my experiences because that's what has taught me. And I've lived too. Like I've been through some stuff. My mom passed away of a massive heart attack right after we got married. 2 years ago, I got genetically tested and I have the same gene and I had to get a defibrillator installed. So, all of these times that I had these transitional areas, my women, my network, my villagers were the ones that were there for me. Depression could slip in and you could have some news that could get you down for a few days. And especially when you're navigating raising children and diagnosing, I just got those diagnosed also with ADHD and that was my superpower before, but now I'm even using it to help support my son. So once again, aligning all your values and really pouring into other women and back is how I've maintained successful and been able to bounce back every single time. So now I'm just ready to share it. Like now I'm ready and have the skills and I am ready to share it to the world.
Something that comes up in our conversations a lot is building villages. That's how you're going to be adding value. So, what does building a village mean to you?
So what building a village means to me is that you are not meant to do this alone. You have to find the village that's going to support the person that you are, right? Leadership has always been a natural talent for me. I'm the oldest sibling, and so leadership skills has always been bestowed to me. It's been my responsibility, though, through the correct mentors and having a life coach. Thank you, Dr. Janine. And taking leadership courses and really taking control of the information that you're taking in, right? And not to mention like marriage and grief, parenting, like just living the last 4 decades of fast growing technology. Without my village, there's no way I would have been able to do this. So, how I build a village is using my network, my friends, my family, and I don't want to say categories. I feel like in circles. So imagine the era in your life that you're in, you need certain types of mentors, and you are the people that you surround yourself with. So those people need to be a little bit closer to you at that time. Like you need to hug them a little bit more, right? And you can't have all that space for every single person in your life. So some of those other people have to be put in a further circle for that moment. I've just been very good at always staying connected with as many people as I can, especially with social media. And there's so many tools that we could use. The word villager came from a school trip, actually. I went to a Native American museum with my son on a school trip in third grade, so last year. And it was a beautiful experience. They just showed how all the women just took care of themselves and their children's, and they worked together for their chores, and they were pretty much getting ready for the next day, right? And I raised my hand. I was like, "Excuse me, where are all the men? Like, you've only spoke about women's chores." And of course, the guide was a woman, and she laughed. She's like, "Well, they were just out hunting and around the fire." And then I was like, "Well, there you go. Like, without these women's support, it's all through all these different eras, because imagine all these intergenerational growth of this village, like the aunts, the cousins, like they're all living together in the same environment. So that's how they're supporting, so I've naturally been able to do that with myself. And the way I've been able to do it is just I have to be intentional with my own personal connection. I have to be. If I don't know myself, how can I attract the right people that's going to support me, right? And then you have to be consistent with the habits that align to those values. Without consistency, we all know that's what makes change, and it compounds with time. And you must build your community. You must find places that empower you and grow. Like, the mission for Value Me Now is to bring women together and help you find your village that you need.
That's so powerful because many women, all women need a village. And I mean, we have the saying that it takes a village to raise a child. And what we are saying, it takes women, it takes a group of people to raise a child. But also in the times that we live in, there are so many women that are feeling isolated, even in our connected world. So, what would you say is the biggest challenges that prevents women from finding that authentic support or that real village to help support them?
And then this time of the age when we think that we have so many connections, and we feel like we have to answer to everybody the second they reach out to you, I feel like knowing who you are is the most important. If you're not aligned to your values and you don't know who you are and you're just people pleasing the environment around you, how can you attract people? You're attracting the wrong people. You're building the wrong community because you don't even know yourself. So the most important part is yourself, pouring into yourself. Find out what you like, find what you love, find out what you don't like. That to me is the most important.
Mm. So true. I remember in Orlando, one of the things that John Maxwell spoke about that day or during that time was what makes you laugh and what makes you cry, what makes you sing. It's important to know yourself because then you'll know what value you can add to others.
Exactly. And you only know these things by adding value to yourself, by making that doctor's appointment that you keep putting off because you have to drive your daughter to ballet, or read that book that you've been wanting to read. That is adding value to yourself, not serving others, making sure that the house is completely spotless. So, there's ways to add value to yourself, to really connect and find out who you really are.
Mm. That's like you are resonating with me at a very deep level here. And I love that. What is a simple practice that women can use daily to feel more centered and confident in their value? Because if I look at you, then that is really something that you've mastered and now want to also share with other women.
I truly believe, besides connecting with yourself and truly finding out who you are so you can attract the village that you need, is being present. That's one of the hardest parts. Learning what helps you be present, because what helps you be present does not help, it's not the right way for somebody else to be present. And learning how to reset that. Like, you have to own
Mm-hmm.
that. You have to do this on your own, right? Especially uh, adults that were parented at a young age and haven't learned those skills. Being 45, I'm in this new era in my life that when we're raising children, now you kind of your own childhood starts reflecting back, and you start understanding what you did not have. So it's your responsibility to learn those skills. Like, who's going to teach you those, right? Your
So
parents
true.
already are not here, or dealing with their own, transitional era, right? And then a smile and an eye contact goes a long way. I swear that I truly, truly feel that's one of the reasons why it's very natural for me to have people and in my community. I make people comfortable with my smile and my eye contact.
That's very true. Like dealing with you from the start, that is when I went back home, that was the things that I remembered. You stayed with me. I mean, we met so many people just in that week, and yet you were the one that stayed with me. So that is absolutely true. You have that ability to not only connect with people, but I also want to say you have the ability to bring people together. And that is something that not many people can do. And some of our conversations have also led to talking about things like self doubt and imposter syndrome, because those two things are huge barriers to so many women. How can they start to overcome these limiting beliefs that they have for themselves and that they believe? Because it is barriers for connection, it's barriers for building their own village.
Yes, self-doubt and imposter syndrome show up when you underestimate the value that you bring to the table. Like,
Mm.
you need to be your biggest cheerleader. That internal voice needs to be positive, and you must learn these skills. We were not raised with these skills, right? And then one of the first steps is, like I said, mentioned before, is connecting with yourself. You have to know yourself first. You have to add value to you first. You have to be a little selfish. Like, that word is very taboo for women sometimes. Like, well, why could I be selfish? I have to, my children, my husband, my mom, but you can't, you have to put on the oxygen mask first, right? You have to take care of yourself first, right?
Oh, I like
Then
that. You have to put on the oxygen mask first. It's true. I
you
always
have,
say that you can't pour from an empty cup. And even in marriage, I use this example that it's my responsibility to look after myself and to make sure that I'm happy. And it's my husband's responsibility to look after himself and to make sure that he's happy. Because when I met him, his happiness made me happy, and my happiness made him happy. And it's our responsibility to maintain that and to look after ourselves first, so that we are able to look after the people that we love and that surround us.
absolutely, absolutely. And then after you have that internal connection and you really, really know how to put yourself first, either through personal development, celebrating small wins, like, you have to remind yourself of all your wins, like all your loss, which are not losses, are just how you learn. Those are the first ones are always going to pop up naturally. Like, we are made that way. You have to remind yourself, of all your wins, no matter how small or big, and remind yourself of all your past successes. Like, I wouldn't be the woman that I am today if it wasn't for the women around me, right? Then with that consistency, like, next is consistency. Confidence is not built overnight. It, I'm I'm not confident. I am so confident about this, but this didn't build overnight. This is the past 45 years of this,
True.
right? It comes from taking action, even when you're unsure. Like, confidence compounds when you are intentional, like when you're intentionally consistent in your habits that connect with your values. That's why it's so important to know what your values are and what you stand for. Because sometimes you surround yourself with people that you believe you have the same values, and you really don't. You just have a good time together. So there's a difference. And then the community, the people that you surround yourself, they have to be like-minded. If you are a kind of person that believes not just yet, you have to surround yourself with those kind of people. Because if not, then you will always doubt that. And then, excuse me, we silence self-doubt and step into our full
Mm.
potential when we find our village and they remind us of our self-worth. Like, those are the three pillars. Like, those are the beacons that guide me. They have kept my weight off. They supported through my mental health, through some of my toughest times, and they have built me such a vast network of women that now that I've always been able to keep inclusive, and now I just want to share them with the world.
That's so powerful. Connection with yourself, consistency. I love what you said about consistency. That confidence compounds when you are intentionally consistent in your habits. That's so true. I think I speak about consistency all the time. If I ask people, there's two words, what do I make you think of? Or what are the two words you think of when you think about me? They always say intentionality and consistency. It's so true. And then the other important thing, like I said, community. That is the place where we're building our village. So if someone feels disconnected from their community, or like we now say, your village, or even their personal identity, what is an actionable step that they can take today? We're making it practical and we're helping them that they can take today in order to reconnect.
What brings you joy? You must intentionally do something that brings you joy. Life is rough. Like, there's a lot of going on and we have a lot to do. And reach out to someone that brings you joy, right? Don't call that friend or aunt that's going to just tell you all the bad news. Call that friend that's going to make you giggle and that's going to uplift you and bring you that. We have those mentors that if you're having a difficulty at work or with a difficult conversation, you have that person that you could call and they could, give you some words of advice. So you don't have to be Googling everything, right? Like you need some experience. You need people that have lived. Mentors are always happy to pour into you. Like this is what makes them the leaders that they are. They're always looking for somebody to pour into it.
That's so true. What's one mindset shift that women can embrace today to start valuing themselves more?
You are enough. Like, start right now. Like, too often we attach ourselves and our value to like achievements and not having a degree or these roles that we have like pigeonholed ourselves in. And how dare I do something different when all I've been doing is changing diapers? Like, be tr true self-worth isn't something you earn. It's something that it's your own. You're born with it. So instead of saying like, am I good enough for this? Like you are like this, you deserve everything. Start now. Like value me now. Like we believe that when you embrace these three pillars, like self-worth becomes a way of life and not just a concept. Like connection, taking time to recognize and appreciate yourself and like being consistent. Like once you know yourself and the habits that make you happy, then that's all you need. Can be consistent in those habits that make you happy. Like you will remember that. That's like rewiring your neurons in your brain, right? And then that village that you build around you, they're there for you. They've all been through all different transitional eras. And if you think that what you're going through, they haven't, they have. They're living the same life. Trust me, they have.
Yeah. If you're wondering why I'm smiling like all the time, it's because you're giving me these Mel Robbins vibes and I'm loving it.
Oh, I love Mel Robbins. Like Mel Robbins is she's one of my biggest reasons. Like her morning routine and her night routine was such a turning point in my life. You make it your own. Like my morning routine for myself is mirror work. Like you have to love yourself. Yeah, the high five. I
Yeah.
love the mirror in the morning. It just reminds me like look how far I've come, like 45 years.
Yeah.
And and then at night it's just lotion. Like I just love lotion and not just like brushing your teeth and doing all those like check off lists, like doing something that's just yours. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's just I love Mel Robbins.
Yeah. What can listeners expect from the Value Me community?
Okay, so what's very unique about Value Me Now network of women is just we're not just here to build your resume. It's for all women. Here in Jersey in the United States, it's all about, building your resume and CEOs and directors, and that's not what this is about. This is about women building confidence, building relationships, and building their next chapter, and most importantly, building herself. Like this community is more than just networking. It's about connection, consistency, and community. And I truly believe that you have to see yourself in person. Like You have to. At these live events, like that's what we're focusing on. I'm promising once a week minimum live events. Your body releases oxytocin. That's a bonding hormone. Like this is science. When that
Mm,
deepens trust and makes you feel safe and supported. Then there's dopamine, that feel good chemical that spikes when you experience excitement and new
of
opportunities and
course.
recognition and knowing you're going to like meet somebody new and or bring a friend that doesn't know about this and you're going to pour into them. And then of course there's serotonin. That's like the happiness hormone, which thrives in positive social settings and boosts your mood and energy and overall well-being. It
And that happens when you're around people,
Yes, it does not
you
happen on a
know?
screen. It does not happen on a Zoom. It's been 5 years since people have been stuck on in a Zoom digital world that is amazing and we need, but that face to face,
Mm,
nothing changes that. It's why you leave Value Me Now, feeling energized, inspired, and unstoppable. Like I love the text messages the next day, and they feel that energy throughout the week. It's kind of like a therapy session, but even better because you're with your girlies, right? And it's not about business; it's about belonging. So looking for a community that values you as a whole woman is not just what's
mm.
on your resume. It's the people you surround yourself with.
I love that. I love that word village that you keep referring to as it's women that have found their village, a place where they belong, a place where they have also found themselves, and where they can see themselves and others pour into other women. That is just a beautiful thing to be a part of. How can someone then be actively involved in this movement? Because that is what you're busy creating. How can we become part of this movement? And how do we take the next step to build ourselves into this support system?
Okay, so you have to be intentional. I know I keep bringing this word up, but it's such an important word. You have to be intentional for showing up for yourself in the community. It's not just something that you're just going to do because you just listen to this podcast and you're going to check it out tomorrow. Like you have to be intentional and really join the conversation. Start by attending one of my free live events or webinars. These gatherings give you a taste of the energy and connection and be consistent. Growth happens when you show up regularly,
Mm,
whether it's through our monthly Zooms, in-person meetups, or engaging in an online community. Consistency is what builds strong relationships, knowing that, people show up for you. And
mm.
then build your community. This is about more than networking. Like I said, it's about finding your village. The women in this community are here to uplift, collaborate, and remind you of your worth. This is the reason why they're members. And when you surround yourself with that energy, it just becomes easier to find and build your own support system.
That's so true. And if you are listening to this podcast, then you are already part of the intentionalist community and being very intentional about your growth. And if you're a woman and you're in this community, I really want to encourage you. I will put the links for Value Me in the podcast notes. I want you to head on over, go and check out the website, go and check out the Instagram and see where you can become part of this community and see how you can also build your village. Diana, what is one final piece of advice that you would have for women who are ready to start intentionally adding value to themselves?
So I'm going to say an unpopular opinion. You are worth being selfish for. You have to be a little selfish. And women are not raised to be selfish. We're raised to be nurturers. We are raised to put people before us as we were supposed to serve, right? And raise and build a village, right? For our legacy. So where's our village that's helping us do that, right? So
Mm,
your 10, live intentionally all of your life, right?
mm,
I feel like your 10 intentional habits are perfect way to guide women. And if you make that internal connection and you're consistent, and a consistency to me, having you my life coach was instrumental because we always had friendly conversations and we had work conversations, but there was but what was missing was that actual coach bringing you through the journey and holding you accountable. Accountability is very important for growth.
That's true.
That's why a lot of people take pictures and post them on Instagram to work out. It's just to say, hey, I did it. Like,
Yeah.
give me a like. And then who you spend time with matters.
Mm,
You are who you surround yourself with. And sometimes that
so
needs to
true.
change. And not in a
Mm,
bad way, in that you're now in a different stage in your life. So that
mm.
community that you build around you, is it really matters who you spend the time with it.
That's so true. And we where we are going, like I was saying earlier, is that community is the currency of the future. Where we are heading to in the future, we're going to need community. We're going to need our villagers. We're going to need the people around us. Another thing that is very close to my heart is the future is human. The future is not AI. AI is going to be the tools that we use to build our businesses, to make things easy for us. But connection will be found with humans, with the people around us, our villagers. And if you've listened to this podcast today, I want to encourage you. This is your time to find yourself a village, to find yourself a community of like minded people where you can grow with, where you can find accountability partners, because that's what's going to get you to the next place that you need to go to. And just become part of a community that is close to your heart, like minded people. That's why we say that destiny changes. Those are the people that's going to walk out the next phase of your life with you, that also has life experience. And one of the ways that you can do that, I'll put it in the podcast notes. Go check out Value Me Now. Go check out the website and the Instagram and find out how can you become part of these live events? How can you become part of one of the webinars and these live sessions, and just see how they can add to your life. But I bet you that there's something in your life that once again you can add to somebody else within that community. I'll put the links in there. Follow Value Me on social media and become part of that community. And you know what? If you find your village here, I want to encourage you. Go tag other women, send this podcast to other women and say, you know what? I know that this is the thing I've been looking for. Because when you shared this with me the first time, Diana, I was like, do you even know how many women needs this? How many women needs accountability partners, people who understand them within the phase of their life that they find themselves, that can help them, that can grow with them, that can keep them accountable. The things and the examples that you've mentioned throughout is so real. Weight loss or weight gain, depression, starting a business, losing a business. There's so many things that we go through in life. The loss of a parent, maybe even the loss of a child. Who's
Mhm.
walking out that journey with you? So I want you to share this podcast with women that also needs that village, just like you. And Diana, thank you for your time.
Oh,
We've come
thank
such a long way, and even
you.
in the more than a decade that I know you, you're still adding value to the lives of people around you. And you're going to continue doing that. You've now literally created the platform in order to invite other women into this and say, listen, come along with me. I want to add value to you. You're going to add value to others. And honestly, all the best for what is coming. And the movement that you have created. May many women join you on this mission, and they also become part of your village.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Janine, for being part of my personal village. Like I said, I am the woman that I am, and I could do this because of women like you that have supported me.
That's awesome. And um, I'll I'll actually look forward to having another interview with you in a couple of months from now to find out what has happened, how many
Yeah.
ladies have joined, where are we, and where is this movement going? I mean, yeah, it may start in New Jersey, but hopefully it ends up all the way in South Africa and it
Oh,
can
I'm
grow
making
that big.
any excuse to Yes, I can't wait. Listen, so launch is May 1st. Please check it all out. And I can't wait to do a follow-up with you so I can tell you how many members and how many different villages, because you just don't need one. You need more than one.
Yes.
You might be
Yeah.
going through more than one transitions in your life. So I'm looking forward to following up and sharing.
I almost forgot about something that when we spoke about the idea that you mentioned, and I thought, how brilliant is that? If you are one of the members, and you can help me write, but if you are one of the members, you actually have resources to an additional group of people who can help you, like babysitters. Am I right?
Yes, yes. So I know we didn't even get into the nitty-gritty of the services that we're going to provide. One of the biggest needs that women need it to be able to add value to themselves is hire help and find good help. And like I said, a Google search doesn't mean anything. So imagine a space that you have all of these members and you have all of these resources that have been vetting, and we're going to have babysitter clubs that you could be able to find a babysitter to help you. You're going to be able to have resources to help with a handyman, any gardening, anything that you might need for your home, personal training, weight loss. So imagine a vetted resource for you
Mm, mm.
besides a members directory and a social platform, private, without any interruptions from the outside, that you could share and be vulnerable and even be anonymous if it's something that's the way that you want to be. So I'm really excited for this community that we're building, and see how many villages are be able to be created.
I can't wait. Thank you, Diana, and thank you for your time today. Looking forward to our next meeting. I'll put all the information in the podcast note. Please share it with your friends. Please share it with your family, and invite people to become part of the Value Me Village if you're a woman only, obviously. And then what I want to remind all listeners is that we are taking new enrollments for marketing cosmetics starting in July. So enrollment has started. Make sure that you book your spot and that you apply for submission, because spots are limited. We have started, the feedback is just phenomenal, and we are actually making great progress on building those marketing strategies that's building businesses at the end of the day. So stay tuned, share this podcast, hit subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you for spending these intentional moments with us today. Join our intentionalist community for purposeful business, spiritual, and life experience. As an international author, business strategist, and life coach, I've discovered the power of living with intention. Through my series of books on intentionality, I've shared insights on how to blend passion, power, and purpose to craft a life that not only enriches you, but also elevates those around you. Remember, being intentional is your God-given right to live a successful, rewarding, and prosperous life.